Yo, what's going on guys, it's Devastating, thanks for tuning in today and welcome to a new video. And it's the first one on this channel which will not feature in-game gameplay. That is because it's just a short settings video. A couple of guys asked me to do this. And without further ado, let's get into it. So options, controls, basic. What do we have here? Like, important thing, the soldier mouse aim sensitivity. I don't know what the default sensitivity is, but mine is on 20% with 1730 dpi. Double tap to sprint slide is off, you will see why later. As I don't use a gamepad, we will skip that. Now to advanced. So I have more or less everything on standard values, so nothing really to see here. As well as controller tuning. I'm playing on PC, so that is not interesting for me. If you play on console, I'm sorry, I cannot tell you anything about that. So let's move on to the more interesting stuff, to the basic gameplay. What I turned off is the HUD motion. For me this new feature is rather annoying, so I turned it off immediately. Another important feature in my opinion is the kill log. You should put that on nearby, so now you only see the important stuff. Cause you don't really need to know when your spawn camping sniper kills a camping enemy sniper in the distance. I think it's a useful feature, you should always have an eye on the kill log. So these are my crosshair and hit indicator colors. If you use the reflex or the night sight, I would recommend using a low percentage of the glow. I have it on 20%, just because you can see the enemy better. And the colors, I had them in BF1 already, so I just got used to it. This is of course personal preference. Another thing, minimap texture opacity. For beginners or new players I would put them on 100%. Especially on Operation Underground, it's interesting where all the hallways are. But for more experienced players I would turn it to 0% so you can see what is behind the minimap. Therefore I have it on 145% size. You can see so much information in the minimap. If you want to flank, you should always use the minimap and see where it's possible. And regarding the other opacities, just play around with them. I prefer to have them on lower percentages, cause I don't want to miss an enemy. To the advanced gameplay settings, I have the camera shake scale on 50%, so as low as possible. It's just distracting. Parachute auto deploy is off, so you can decide for yourself if and when you want to deploy your parachute. And what I have enabled are the network performance stats. It's that tiny little bar on the bottom with the colored numbers. And that's pretty much it for the gameplay settings. Let's move on with the audio. Nothing special here. I've turned down the music volume to 10%, because at the end of the round it's annoying. You cannot hear any footsteps anymore. So yeah, sound presets, 3D headphones, and the other stuff is more or less standard. Video settings, I play on 2K resolution, my brightness is on 60% and I have not touched it once. Field of view, frequently asked. The vertical field of view is on 84 degree and the horizontal FA view on 100. This is pretty much mid-range, a lot of other players use this as well. ADS field of view, I have it on because I tried it on off, but the zooming in effect is too much for my liking. Motion blur on 0%, custom color settings, I have them on 3 Tanopia. The colors are just a little bit more saturated. And all the effects down there I have it on off. Advanced video settings, DX12 disabled cause it doesn't work for me. The game crashes if I have it enabled. Frame rate limiter is on monitor refresh rate here, but I have a config file which says 163, so I am avoiding any tearing. Future frame rendering on, you will have about 25 FPS more. Vertical sync off, cause I use G-Sync. And all the quality settings on low. The game still looks beautiful and you save a lot of FPS. So what's left are only the key bindings, but nothing really special here. Common key bindings, yeah, this is standard I think. Let's go to soldier. Also nothing really special. This is all default settings I think. What's interesting for the spectator mode and for making thumbnails is toggle HUD visibility. I just press one button and the whole HUD goes away. My zoom minimap button is N. That's sometimes interesting because we have 3 different zooming levels depending on how big the map is. I don't play Firestorm. Switching to the secondary weapon. This is the most suited button for me. When it's a hectic situation, I just use the scroll wheel to make sure I have always my secondary weapon. No matter how far I'm scrolling, it just switches to the secondary weapon. I do not lean very often, but if I use my macro keys on the left side for melee attacks and throwing grenades, I use the button on my mouse which I can reach with my thumb. The infamous sprint slide, I have it on the left control key, so you can spam the shit out of it. And as I don't use vehicles, nothing to show you here. That's already it for this video. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be live on Sunday afternoon. Until then, cheers!